And the format is, okay, and you'll see this a lot on CNN, and to a large degree, you'll see it on MSNBC. So they start off with a reporter round robin, that finding out what's going on the ground. And then the next person they go to is a military analyst to say, what do we do about this? And again, I think some of that is just like, that's just how they've always done this. And so that's what you're supposed to do. And they don't think about coming at it from some other perspective. And so that's, all of a sudden, once it's framed that way, that's where the conversation is going to go. And it's, what should we be doing? Of course, that's what we're going to discuss. What should we be doing militarily? And again, I don't feel like these people are pro-war, but that's how their brains are wired. And so that's why it comes out that way.
Well, these folks, they're military experts, as you mentioned. These are military operations. And when these news programs start and they're talking about the military perspective, I mean, I can see where some people would say give them a pass because they're military experts. They should be brought into this conversation, this type of conversation. But here's how I look at it. I'm out here on the left wing of things, and I'm looking at people. Now, these are the kind of folks that I follow. I follow Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp, Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, that I'm sure that you're aware of, Eleanor Goldfield, the great Matthew Ho, Ron Placone, Aaron Mate, Matt Taibbi, and my list ends with Chris Hedges, the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. Those folks are not included. They're not on these programs. And like you said, well, they're not military experts. They're talking about military. My point, Ariana, is, but they were right about the other wars of our lifetime, basically. They were right about Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya. They were correct. So why not bring in these counter voices on the left at this point? Because as I tell people on my show all the time, I'm a once bitten, twice shy kind of a guy. I mean, if somebody is right, if they've been proven right, and the other folks have been proven wrong, I'm likely to at least bring in those correct voices. Now, another example of this is, George, you say, well, how can you say that they're wrong? Well, the Afghanistan papers in the Washington Post. I mean, my God, what a damning document that is. And it doesn't get the coverage that it should. It proves that these experts that are being brought onto these shows don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, they didn't know what they were doing in Afghanistan for 20 years. And that's, to put it nicely, some people would look at it and say they were knowingly doing things that were harmful to us and the world. But at the very best, they're incompetent. What's your rejoinder to that?
I cannot disagree. And I will say, again, the way that they are programmed internally, again, I feel like it's almost in their DNA. If you suggest those types of people, they might consider it. But I think at the end of the day, it's kind of this group think effect. And in the EP meeting, where the executive producers get together to talk about what they're planning for the day, if everyone else is going for a military voice, you don't want to be the one person who's saying, I want to lead with an anti-war voice, or someone who, has more diplomatic experience or has a different perspective. They're trying to please and they compare themselves to their colleagues. And I think that has a damaging effect. And it's this sense of fear that it won't be taken seriously. And I think that applies also to the audience. So the way that, our national politics is, we have a left and a right, but for the most part, the country is more center right than it is liberal compared to Europe, for example. I think that is also inherent in their decision making. They are afraid of seeming like this is a fringe idea. Just again, because we have thought about war coverage for so long being framed a certain way, and you go at it a certain way, and you format it a certain way. To do something else makes them very uncomfortable.